Warning. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect that of the HHN TV or its constituent entities. Furthermore, some parents may not find this content suitable for children as it contains explicit language and subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, everybody. I'm True Duncan. The show's fired up, and we are live. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at True Duncan Radio. I am wherever you are listening to podcasts. Tell your device to play Fired Up by True Duncan on iTunes, iHeart. Wherever you're listening, I am there. Plenty to get to today. We're going to be talking about Matthew Stafford leaving a joint practice with a hamstring issue. We're going to be talking about Kevin Durant, really the entire dream team from this past season, or from this past Olympics. Are we going to see him in LA 2028, etc.? We're going to be getting into that as well. We're going to be talking about the new show from Aaron Hernandez. Well, not from Aaron Hernandez, but about Aaron Hernandez. We're going to be getting into that. And, of course, Jim Harbaugh says that he has offered Colin Kaepernick a gig. Plenty to get to today. All right. So first thing is first. Colin Kaepernick was offered a job on the coaching staff with Jim Harbaugh. You know, I've never really said this publicly before. I've tried to stay away from this topic for as long as I possibly can for no other reason other than it seems like once you're on this, once you're talking about it, once you're into it, you spend the rest of your career dealing with all the people who are dissecting every little thing that you have to say. But I think I've finally reached a point where I just don't give a damn anymore. I don't care. So when it comes to actual Colin Kaepernick and the whole kneeling thing, I want to be clear. I don't give a damn if people kneel or stand for the national anthem. If they feel like it's in protest, if they feel like there is something that they need to be kneeling for, then what is your problem? It's about those soldiers. It's about respecting those soldiers. Okay, dude, look. I'm from the Midwest, man. I see flags outside of people's houses all day, every day. They never come down. They are out there in the snow. They are out there in the rain. It is supposed to go up at a specific time, come down at a specific time, better be ode to joy, and you better have it correctly folded. But 99% of all people who give a one rat's ass about that damn flag are the same ones who are talking about how the flag down in the South is just... It's just traditional imagery, man. It's all it is. Well, it doesn't mean that to everybody else. And I'm sorry that you can't broaden your horizons. I'm sorry that everything has to be your way. But to other people, it means something completely different. Now, it is a peaceful protest. Peaceful. You know, people aren't out in the streets rioting and charging and all that stuff. All the same ones that are okay with what happened with the coup in the White House are somehow mad about people who kneel for the national anthem. And it doesn't make any damn sense to me. And by the way, I better not catch you with underwear on with the national anthem on it or the flag on it. Beer crushed in the can. Wiping your mouth with a napkin that has the flag on it. All this stuff is technically illegal. Well, it's just a replica. You got to use your brain. Look, man, I am not here to discuss petty stuff with anybody. I am not here to get petty with anybody. I'm only saying this one time and one time only. If you want to kneel for the anthem, I don't care. If you want to stand, I don't care. We need to start celebrating our differences and figuring out why there are differences in the first place instead of always being against the damn each other. Now, I'm also going to say this about Kaepernick. I question his motives all the time. And for anybody saying that he couldn't play football, and that's why he's not in the league, I'm not exactly upset with that. Let's remember that Colin Kaepernick was going to be traded by the 49ers long before he ever decided. It was that offseason where they were looking to trade him to the Denver Broncos, but he didn't want to take a pay cut. I question his motive all the time. And by the way, John Elway offered him a job 3 different times. He just said, look, man, take a little bit of a pay cut. Come on over here. Get us back to the playoffs. We'll rework your contract. Cap didn't want to do it. Stuff that happened down in Miami. You can't wear a shirt supporting Fidel Castro and expect to go play for the Dolphins, bro. Not with all the Cubans down in Miami. You had his girlfriend upset with Ray Lewis, calling him an Uncle Tom when he was trying to get him a tryout with the Ravens. He decided to move the practice from the facility where they were, which, by the way, I think 27 of the 32 NFL teams showed up. He decided to take an hour and a half down the road. But that was how long ago? How long ago? I think everybody's got to move past it, get over it. It's been done. I personally don't think Cap would come in and start kneeling for the national anthem. I really don't. And as far as being a coach goes, look, Gary Kubiak, if I remember correctly, ended up being John Elway's quarterback coach. Now, can you imagine being second string to that guy and then having to be his QB coach? There's been tons of guys who are not exactly great quarterbacks or tremendous athletes that have been, quote, QB whisperers. Wasn't John Gruden said to be one of them? If I remember correctly, Andy Reid was a lineman. They call him a quarterback whisperer. For my money, I really wouldn't give a damn if Kaepernick accepted a job coaching with the Chargers. Doesn't he know Jim Harbaugh? And look, despite how all that ended in Frisco, if Harbaugh is willing to look past everything, then why the hell can't everybody else? Look, the reality of the situation is nothing is set in stone before everybody gets their panties in a bunch. We don't know if Kaepernick is going to take the job or not. He's, quote, thinking about it. Now, for me, why Harbaugh admitted to it, I really don't know. I mean, if I'm being 100% honest with you, if I'd have been Harbaugh, I'd have been like, look, I'm just trying to still get a coaching staff. I really don't want to talk about that right now. Not till anything's set in stone, because just Kaepernick alone, the name is still so polarizing that I don't know if I would have wanted that kind of attention just yet over to my football team. He's clearly willing to accept it once he's there, which, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Look, I think we have to come to a place where just because we don't agree with something doesn't mean that things are inherently wrong. You may not agree with Kaepernick kneeling for the national anthem. That doesn't make it inherently wrong. You might not agree with Kaepernick being a coach in the NFL. It doesn't make it inherently wrong. You're woke, man. You're woke. You're super woke. You don't know me for jack, bro. This ain't about being woke. This is about whether or not I think the right thing was being done. Do I think Kaepernick was the best quarterback in the NFL at that time? No. I mean, come on. Let's keep it a buck. He had, at the time, what many deemed to be a top 3 receiving core in the NFL, kind of fumbled the bag. Now, part of that is conservative play calling. Part of that is Kaepernick had one of 2 passes. He burned it in as hard as he possibly could, or he floated it up where the Ducks could get it. Could he have changed it with time? I mean, who knows? Old habits are hard to break. Ask Tim Tebow. Everybody was worried about his throwing motion. I think that we are angry at the wrong thing. I really do. I think what we should have been angry at is the NFL. Because they didn't want to do anything. I mean, come on, man. Richard Sherman was saying and doing a lot of the same things. There were players that were before Kaepernick. What made him specifically so polarizing that it came to that level, I really have no idea. I honestly do not know. I can't tell you. There are plenty of things about Cap that I do not like. But when it comes to kneeling, when it comes to police brutality, I mean, come on, people. Did we not just see what happened with Massey? Did we not just see that? There's no way that people don't think that George Floyd was murdered. Not to me. He's cuffed. He's in the backseat of the car. Any cop worth their salt will tell you people back there throw fits all damn day, every day. He's cuffed. He ain't going nowhere. 9 minutes with a knee on his neck? 9 minutes. You think that's okay? He was a drug addict. Cops are not here to be judge and jury, my man. They are not here to be judge and jury. So there is a new show about Aaron Hernandez that is coming out. And look, I'm just going to keep it a buck. I'm not necessarily sure that I agree with this show being made. Number one, we've already had documentaries. Not great documentaries, by the way, but we have had documentaries. What else is there to be said? Look, I will never understand the obsession that people have with murder mystery, with tragedy, horrible stories. I personally, I don't know what it is. Now, look, I've had people in my comment section before where I've talked about stuff like this, like, why do we give a damn if Tom Brady is getting divorced? Why do you want to be in his life so much? Well, you know, man, my life sucks and it makes me feel a little better. Oh, so your life is, you just admitted that you have such a piss poor life that talking about somebody else's BS makes you feel better about you. Congratulations, bro. You rock. Psych. Nerd. What is there to be tapped into? I'm not going to watch it, for the record. I'm not. You know, it was BTK's own children when they found out that he had a book deal and a movie deal and all this stuff that said, why are we going to do this? Why are we going to relive this for the victims? I do not understand the obsession with Ted Bundy, with all these. I've never understood it, especially with females. What in the actual are you secretly turned on or something? Because women are always talking about how scared they are to be in dark alleys and how it's hard to be a woman because you never know a man's motive. And there was all this stuff about bear in the woods and everything else, but yet you will sit there by yourself, alone in your bedroom, phone down, completely enamored, focused, and tuned in on watching a Ted Bundy documentary. Explain this. I mean, I really legitimately need an explanation. I mean, me personally, the way that Aaron Hernandez's life ended was horrific. He saw no resolve other than to take his own life just to make sure that his little one is taken care of. Why in the actual... It's the worst type of propaganda. When I was younger, I used to watch, like Goodfellas and all these gangster movies growing up. No wonder my grandmother didn't let it in the house. Now that I'm older, I understand. Now that I'm older, I understand. And look, I'm still a hypocrite in a lot of ways. I mean, damn, man. I listen to music that's not exactly edifying. Still watch movies that have senseless violence. But I guess there's maybe a difference between a fictional story that is just trying to make a point versus a reality-based situation that is using it as really just bait to grab everybody's attention. I don't know, man. I don't agree with it. I'm not going to watch it. There's not going to be any focal point on the victims. I'm not saying that, based off of the previews and what we know about Aaron Hernandez, that he did not have a tragic life. I'm not saying any of that stuff, okay? What I am saying is I feel no need to participate any longer in this type of stuff. It's a weird obsession to me. I don't know why it exists, and there's really no reason for it. He is gone, and he has no say-so whatsoever over how he will be portrayed. None whatsoever. And a lot of people are going to go, well, there's only one way to portray him. He was a maniac. I'm not saying that that's not true. But damn, man, there are 1,000,001 other sides to people. And maybe they're going to tap into that. I don't know. I personally don't give a damn. I think this is a mess, is what I think. And I think it's completely unnecessary. And I also think it's way too damn soon. All right. Real quick here, Matthew Stafford, he left to practice with a hamstring, which, by the way, directly after practice, neither Stafford or Coach McVay wanted to talk to the media. So, as of the moment of this broadcast, nobody knows the severity of it. Look, if he is going to be out potentially for a couple of games, understand that Jimmy G is suspended for the first 2 games of the season because of alleged PED use. Stetson Bennett has not shown us anything. Again, I'm very happy for him given everything that he's gone through. But I need you to know that Stetson Bennett is not it. I mean, at least not from anything that we've seen to this juncture. So let's just leave it at that. How many interceptions? I mean, sure, he led that game-winning drive, but folks, we're talking, I mean, there were guys that he was throwing picks to that may not even make the roster. I mean, seriously. Might have been making them look a little bit better than they were. And then if you got to go even further, Dresser Wynn, who played Canadian football, and his college was Tennessee Martin. I'm not saying an unknown from a small school can't get it done, but if he's not in the look right now over Stetson Bennett, then I think that ought to tell just about everybody exactly where he's at. You know, the run game, I mean, what, you got Blake Corum over there. We'll see what happens. Cooper Kupp. You know, I mean, you've got some pieces to the puzzle that you can certainly rely on. But I don't think that they've done a very good job in stacking the quarterback room. I'm just being honest. You look at what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons, excellent quarterback room. Baltimore Ravens, to me, pretty good quarterback room. Pittsburgh Steelers, not a bad QB room. You know, to me, the idea is to try and get guys that are similar, right? So that way you don't have to change too much up in case somebody goes down. Similar styles. I mean, that's the way to go. Now, are Stafford and Jimmy G comparable? Look, I'll be honest. I don't know how Jimmy G's not third string somewhere. I mean, that guy must have one hell of a personality. I said from the beginning when he was in New England that he hadn't done anything to prove himself. They were getting ready to give him all this money, and I thought, he hasn't done anything. Guy hasn't had an astronomical amount of jersey sales, wins over good teams, nothing. They get to the Super Bowl, he misses those throws. Things happen, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Look, if Matthew Stafford can't go for whatever reason, they're going to, and look, Aaron Donald retired. If Stafford can't go for any reason, they're going to have to rely exclusively on that run game. And Cooper Kupp's going to have to make some phenomenal catches. And they're going to have to be really reliant on that defense. But the fact that you don't have Aaron Donald anymore, what are you going to do? Yeah, you don't have your defensive coordinator anymore. The Rams might be in a bad way. We don't know how the NFC West is going to shape up, to be honest. Brandon Ayuk and that whole thing with Frisco. Geno Smith's real hit and miss in Seattle. They just traded away their center back to Cleveland. What do they know that we don't? The Rams, they're not looking good right now. The NFC West it could be a lot of trouble, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, who the hell's going to come out of there? Somebody with just enough wins to get into the playoffs? It's not looking good right now, anyway. Could be wrong. You never know. But in the meantime, look, we're going to be talking about this more tomorrow, obviously, so I don't want to spend too much more time on this because I've already hit on it yesterday. I've already put up the short on it yesterday about how I feel about this thing. You want to know what frustrates me to no end? Is when somebody gets into my comment section and they go, dude, so-and-so is a better athlete than you'll ever be, and they've lived a life that you could only wish, and you're just being a hater. And it was specifically, again, yesterday when Conor McGregor said that he wanted to fight in December with Michael Chandler. Dana White said, it's not happening this year. And I said, look, Dana White is obviously kind of at the end with Conor McGregor, right? You're not going to pull this anymore. We're not just going to do whatever you want to do. That fight's not happening this year. I got other stuff basically going on. I got the Sphere. I've got, the Contender Series is starting back up. I got everything else happening. I don't need this right now, nor do I want this right now. I've got belts that need to be unionized. I got all kinds of stuff. Unified, I got unification fights that need to happen. I got 1,000,001 things going on with John Jones right now. I've got all this other stuff going on. We're not doing this year. That fight was made for International Fight Week. You decided that you couldn't make it, so we are waiting on my terms now. No longer yours. And I talked about how Conor McGregor had, videos that he was posting while he was supposed to be training. Of him at the club, kicking it. Girl going down on his chest, licking him all up. All right, bro, cool, man. You're living the life. You are supposed to be training. We're allowed to be critical. And you're not going to get in my comment section and act like you haven't gone over to another team's or athlete's page and not said things. It's not going to happen. Now, I live under the guise of just because you can say something does not mean that you should say something. And I maintain that, and I believe that. And look, I don't think that everybody has to agree with me. I don't give a damn if you don't like my opinion. I don't care if you want to call me an idiot. Last season I had so many people telling me I'm Ryan, Prime's jock and all this other BS. I don't care about any of that. But if you're going to tell me that so-and-so is living a life that I could only dream of, that I'm a hater, that's stupid. Nobody's hating, bro. Just admit that you don't have an actual rebuttal for what the I'm talking about. Because what's happening is you're such a fanboy that you can't see reality. And the reality of Conor is, and I will say it again, that he woke up one morning, decided that he wanted to have a fight, decided that fight should be with Michael Chandler because he knew that predicated upon everything that had happened in the Contender Series that yes, it's guaranteed to make money. Money moved by McGregor. It wasn't about a championship. It wasn't about anything else other than McGregor himself making another money move, right? Then he woke up one morning and realized he hadn't trained. At least not the way that he should be. He realized he had not prepared himself mentally or physically, emotionally, anything to be in a fight. Why? Because he hasn't had to do it in so long. People don't understand how hard getting back on the saddle in anything is. I was only gone away from this gig for basically a month and a half. Month and a half. And it was difficult for me to get back into true research, taking true notes, really digging deep, finding the time, making the time. I've been used to being on social media or just watching movies or whatever the case may be. I have to get myself back into a mode of watching games, taking notes. Now, can you imagine how much more difficult it is to be getting ready for a fucking fight? And Conor McGregor is just sitting around like, la, 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 no big deal. The reality of the situation is that McGregor is still trying to prove that he has that type of clout. I said December, Dana. I said next year, bro. That's all there is to that. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out means not right now, bro. I mean, come on. Everybody's been a parent, right? We'll see. 99% of the time, we'll see means no. So right now, he's telling him no, especially this year. We're not doing that. Is he going to be willing to make that fight again for International Fight Week next year? I mean, hell, I don't know, man. What I do know is this. Everybody has a breaking point. And everybody has a moment when they go, dude, I can't do this anymore. Dana White has put up with a lot from Conor McGregor. He has put up with a lot from John Jones. After a while, it's time to move on. Maybe not completely. But the reality is very simple. We had it all worked out. I lost my ass on that promotion. We lost a lot of fucking money. I didn't bother to go and watch the pay-per-view myself, and I know a lot of other people who didn't either, just because that fight was off. And at first, Michael Chandler was going to take on a fight with somebody else, and then he just said to hell with it himself. Like, I'm not doing this. I prepared for Conor McGregor. That's the fight that I want. I'm not doing this. And that's just all there is to it. I have no problem with people debating me. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. But ain't nobody finna call me no hater because I have never been a hater. I don't give a damn about another man's pockets. I really seriously do not give a damn about another man's pockets. I'm not going to sit around and pretend like I haven't talked about the spoiled rich kid because I grew up with a bunch of them. But as an adult, I don't care. And I've already said that Connor's earned everything that he's got. But he was supposed to be getting ready for a fight. This is how it looks when you are at the club, kicking it on your yacht, your boat, whatever the hell it is, kicking it, acting like nothing is happening. And then you don't show up to the press conference, and then you just say, dude, sorry, the fight's off, bro. And then you get mad when nobody believes you. And then you call Dana up and you go, December, Dana. And he's like, no. Now you're trying to pull a power move on social media? We said December, bro, remember? No. You said December. I said, we'll see. I'll be honest with you. I'm still looking forward more to the possibility of Mike Tyson fighting than I am Conor McGregor. I think that ought to tell everybody just about everything they need to know. And I think there are a lot of people who would share that sentiment. All right, finally here, the Olympics. A lot of people are discussing 2028 already in LA. Who's going to be on the team? First of all, we don't know what 2028 is going to look like. We don't know what it's going to look like in the NBA, let alone the Olympics. Now, obviously, there's maybe, John Morant, you could go out that way. Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, who, by the way, already said he's not playing in the FIBA Cup. He said, hell no to that, which I can't blame him. I mean, he's probably thinking to himself, man, look, we just got done playing basketball how long ago, and now I got to rush out to the Olympics, and then I got to jet back here, and I got to be ready. I mean, it's August. I'm basically getting a little bit of August and a little bit of September, and then October, I'm right back to it, bro. Like, I'm good. I got 82 games ahead of me. I can't be mad at him for that. Reason number 65 why I think the NBA does not need to start until like December, January, and there needs to be 62 games in the season. Then on top of that, you've got this additional, whatever they're calling it now, little in-season tournament that they got going on, in addition to every other thing. Nah. I would be definitely good on that too. Seriously. But I think the thing that's gotten to me the most is the people that are talking about Steph and Braun. What could have been? Can you imagine Steph and Braun on the same team? My question to you would be this. Were you really ready for it? Could you have really handled it? Would you have been able to watch that duo for all these years and think to yourself, man, they were amazing to watch together? Or would you take the bait and start listening to the GOAT debate and go, well, man, nah, F that. He had Steph Curry. One of the greatest shooters of all time. One of the greatest basketball players of all time. I mean, right, they're comparing him to Magic and all that stuff. Really think about it. Could you have actually appreciated what you were looking at? You see, to me, when I see what happened with Steph and Braun in the Olympics, what we got was a treat. We got a treat. We got to see two of the best basketball players in not only just in the NBA right now, but in NBA history. We got to watch them together and wonder what could have been. That's kind of the good part about it, really. But I think because we got the treat, we wanted the whole meal. Well, sometimes apple pie all by itself once in a while is just good enough. You understand what I'm saying here? Probably kind of a silly reference, but what I'm telling you is I appreciate the fact that we got to see them play against each other more than the fact that they would have had to play together. Because playing against each other was great competition to watch. And I would rather see great competition than two guys just run roughshod all over the NBA. You know, at the collegiate level, I've talked about it before, how fun it would have been to watch Bron and Melo. But I'll be the first to tell you right now, a big part of that is because I'm such a big Syracuse fan. Give us a couple of more championships, amigo. Really cement that legacy for Jim Boeheim. And I think it would have been fun at the collegiate level to watch. But in the NBA, I don't think I would have wanted to see it. We got to see it in the Olympics, but in the NBA, I wouldn't have wanted to see it. I love watching the best play against the best. That's what I love watching. And I think that as great as those two would have been, none of us, and I mean, because I'm included in this, I'm not going to sit around and pretend like, hey, man, I would have been, glued in just because I want to see them win. No, I would have been glued in because I'd have been like, well, hopefully they lose, because that's what we turn into in our society for whatever reason. I mean, people want to talk about haters. People love to see winners lose for some weird reason, and that I do not understand. I do not take joy in watching Conor McGregor lose. I was a huge fan. I still am a fan. But I am a journalist, an award-winning journalist. Writing, research, TV, radio. I'm able to put that aside and go, this is what's happening right now with Conor McGregor. As a journalist, I probably would have been able to put it aside and go, look, whether we like it or not, this is probably the greatest duo in the NBA. But I think the majority of fans would not have been able to have appreciated it. And I think that what we got in the NBA Finals was so much more entertaining anyway. I mean, I'm keeping it a buck for myself. And now, obviously, I can't speak to everybody else, but this is just me. Hell of an Olympics, by the way, man. There were some really good games. Great comebacks. Steph Curry showing up, showing out at the end. Him and Bron, and then the way they stood up for Melo. Remember, old boy? Yeah. Yeah. But you won't do that again, will ya? All right, everybody. I am Drew Duncan. The show's fired up, and we are live. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. I am wherever you are listening to podcasts. Tell your device to play Fired Up by Drew Duncan, iTunes, iHeart. Wherever you're listening, I am there. Your local programming is next. Do not forget that Austin Ford, our MMA insider, will be joining the show tomorrow. Plenty to get to, obviously, with the Izzy fight, McGregor, etc. Your local programming is next. Don't you dare touch that dial.